You know, if I was living in 1995 and I was automatically transported till today, I think I would lose my ever living shit with what's going on in the world. There's that old saying about sailing. There's that old saying about putting a frog in cold water and slowly turning up the heat. I look around and I don't even recognize what is going on anywhere. And so my last video, I kind of talked about bugging out and mentally and physically. Our plan is to bug in. Bugging out has its place, maybe in a hurricane, definitely in a fire, earthquake, it's 50-50, but it's always a losing prospect to bug out if you don't have to. And part of what we're trying to do is find a nice home base that we can go to where we can bug in and let the world blow up and burn around us and just live our happy little lives. And that's kind of what we've always done. You know, it's a very, very fine line between being a prepper and a hoarder and a sailor. As the sailor, I always have the boat stock for 6 months to a year. If I see anything on sale, I buy 10 of them, regardless. Right now on Amica, I probably have 200 foam brushes, 1,000 feet of blue tape, if not 2,000 feet of blue tape. We just kind of go through life like, oh, that's cheap, get a bunch, we'll use it. And we always use it. And so during the pandemic, I had the bright idea of bugging out. And I took my little boat and I packed up all my stuff and I had a year's supply of food on that boat. And every single place I went, there was 150 people that had beat me to it. And after about 6 weeks of sailing around, I turned around and I came home dejected. And I put the boat back in the boatyard and I unloaded everything into my little 8x10 tiny house. I was like, well, shit, I guess I'm stuck here. So we live and we learn. And we're looking for, I hate to use the word farm. I'm a terrible farmer, but I'm pretty good at gardening. And so we're looking for a little place where we can have our greenhouses and no people. We're both hermits. I think if neither of us ever saw another human again, as long as we lived, we'd just be fine with it. And we're gonna have a little simple place. I don't even know if we're gonna put a house. We're gonna build a greenhouse and probably wheel in a tiny house on a trailer and kind of keep it mobile. And then part two will be a boat for Kimchi. She's very bent that I'm selling Amica. And part of it, we're moving east, so we don't really have a choice. But she will get another boat. I am chasing Seraphin right now, and if I can buy Seraphin for her, I will. And if not, there's a couple sister ships that we've looked at, and we'll consider those as well. Something small and easy for her. And maybe someday I'll get to go on the water again. Maybe someday I won't. I don't think I've ever really talked about the disability that I have. And maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But things are changing and I just can't go anything that's unstable. Ferries, cruise ships, airplanes, buses, cars make me sick. Bicycles are fine for some reason. Walking is dangerous, but it's still good. It's farm, dirt, goodness, fresh fruit. I just want a greenhouse, even if it's only 10 by 20 feet. I just want a nice little greenhouse where we can get our starts going and get everything going, and then a very small plot of land where we can grow what we need to do. And in the meantime, this is our last summer on the island. We're riding bikes and having fun. We leave for the boat in a couple of weeks, and we're going to clean her up. And it's been a long, cold winter, and around here we get lichen and mold and all sorts of stuff, but couple hours of the scrub brush and she'll look brand new again. And then we're gonna put everything on her that goes on her, take everything off of her that comes off of her, and put her for sale and continue with our transition to nothingness, which is hard. It's not easy. You know, traveling with an expensive ukulele, probably not a good idea, but I've got a really nice ukulele to CS, and I don't really want to let that go. But it's like a baby. It has to be kept at 68 degrees and 45% relative humidity and in its bulletproof case and all those things. And so each item we have, we look at, and it's cost versus worth. Is there a benefit to sell it? And is it worth it to sell it? Or do we find a way to make it come with us? And yeah, and we can mail plenty of stuff ahead, not the ukulele. But plenty of others. So this is a big transition for us. We've lived here, and the reason we live on the West Coast is simple: water and trees. The more we look on the East Coast, the more difficult it is for us. We don't see water in a lot of places. and we don't see trees in a lot of places. When I see East Coast, I mean east of Washington State, Oregon State, or California State. We've looked north, south, east, west. We've looked at the islands. We've looked at Asia. We've looked at briefly New Zealand. You know, I want a machine gun, and in most places you can't have one. And so part of that is my Second Amendment rights. Where can we move where we have Second Amendment rights? Where can we move where we don't have neighbors? Where can we move where we don't have absolute insanity? And here I live in a very beautiful tiny island. I can walk about 100 feet and find a crazy person that's not being taken care of. And around here, they do just enough to let them die a long, slow, painful, miserable death. They could send them for help, but they don't. They just kind of continue helping them along in their very, very unfortunate ways. It makes us upset, and there's nothing we can do around here. I want to find a community where people actually care about everybody in the community. And that's a hard thing to find these days, but we will find it. And we're very positive that the looking is part of the fun. We've been looking for a Mercedes Sprinter van for a year. We still can't figure out how to value them. Why is this one $68,000 and one that's the same year and the same mileage is $250,000? And why there's so much damage on such new cars, and who built them? And I don't know anything about what to look for or how to do it. And we try and study a little bit. YouTube used to be such a great resource for information, and in some ways it is, but now everyone's just monkeys jumping through hoops trying to get attention. And so there's so much BS out there, trying to sift through it and find a good place where people that's what I've always tried to do with my blog, YouTube. It's just give information. That's how it happened. That's how it is. Those are the facts. Whether it's with a boat or with what I'm talking about today or with whatever's going on, it's always kind of just simple, which is probably why I have 3 subscribers. But for us, when we try and get into these whole, what's the best kind of van, we don't really get many answers. And I started my van life as a 16-year-old. I started as a 17-year-old. I moved into my van and lived in my van. And I've traveled extensively across country multiple times. The last time I did it was in 2006, I think it was 2006, which is how I ended up here. I think I mentioned it, but I was heading to Alaska to try and homestead or buy land to build a house, whatever it was. Stopped in Bellingham for a tank of gas, accidentally bought a sailboat, and then I lived here. And so that was the last time that I've done it. And that was 20 years ago. And even back then, it was getting more difficult to find places to sleep. When I first started doing it, I could pull into a farmer's field. They didn't care. They would offer me breakfast. I could pull into a Walmart, and it was safe, and it was clean. I don't know. I guess maybe the world is starting to seem a little dirty to me. And so we want the van because we want to explore every town in America, finding this little place and do a nice, fun 6-month road trip, buy it, have fun with it, sell it, which means we have to buy it cheap enough to be able to sell it. And it seems like prices go down every day except on what we want to buy. And so if I wanted to go buy a new boat today, every single boat that I would look at, the prices has doubled. If I want to sell my boat today, everyone wants to pay half of what the current survey value is. And so I find myself with the Sprinter van, I don't want to have 2 things that I'm stuck with. So never feel sorry for someone who's stuck with a Bristol Channel cutter and a Sprinter van. I think we'll survive. And so we're just kind of middling through, and we're learning from people. I've got lots of friends doing it and searching and building. A friend of mine's building a gorgeous house right now, doing the entire thing himself. He cut the trees down, he seasoned the trees, he cleared the land with a little bit of help. We all helped him build a yurt, and now he's building a house, and it's going to be extraordinary. We're doing the simple route. We don't have skills or time. The 2 most often questions I've been asked over the last 20 years that I've had my YouTube channels or my blog is, how old are you? How much money do you make? And those are such hard questions to answer, in the sense that I can tell you today, but then people will come back looking at it and they won't know what year this was published or whatever. I was born in 1868, and Kimchi was born in 1876, I think. So she's 50 and I'm almost 58. We don't have time to do all the crazy building and stuff. We just want to have fun and play and enjoy ourselves. We never know how much money we have or how much we're making, because it's always changing. and it doesn't bother us at all. It's the least thought about quotient in our life. It's like, got to wake up, you got to do the dishes, you got to take a shower. That's how finance is in our lives. It's a very small portion. It has to be done, and we do it and we move on. And it's when you're starting to look at health costs, it's something that we should be paying more attention to. But right now, we're just, for the both of us, for the first times in our life, we're building an empire. And we're doing it simply, and we're doing it slowly, and we're not looking to get rich quick, and we're not taking any chances. We're just simple investments. We're definitely diversified. And I love to buy and sell stuff. So we do a lot of that, and then everything else that everybody else does. And if I have anyone that I follow, it's Warren Buffett. And if anyone I invest in, it's probably Elon Musk. That guy just keeps building and building and building. And whether you like him or not, his companies are growing, and they're growing rapidly, and I think they're going to grow exponentially. Not that I'm giving financial advice, but we keep it simple, and we look for the slow, steady growth, and for businesses that will be here in 100 years. I remember Kodak. I remember Enron. I remember how fast they disappeared. And so we're just doing this simple game, and our plan is just to have a bunch of crap that's really, really fun. And then when we kick it, we'll leave it to our nieces and nephews, and they can have fun with it. So our plans are to live day by day, minute by minute, second by second. And then we just have a little bit of there is a future out there somewhere that needs to be looked at. And again, to come full circle, that's bugging in for us. We want a home base. We've both been traveling for 40 years. We want to come home, lay our head down on our personal clean white pillows, lock our doors, have our stuff. And that's something that neither of us has ever really had, in the sense that we've always been on the move and doing things. And it's nice. It's nice to not have to worry about storms and weather and boat shit. And I can just close the door, and the house doesn't move, and no one's going to crash into me. I'm not going to sink. It's a very, very, very pleasant feeling. And while there's certainly going to be another boat coming, it's going to be a very small boat compared to the direction we've been headed. And in the meantime, it will be a small house and a small garden, and back to as simple of living as we can possibly do. Kind of like the candy industry. We're going to put in as little as humanly possible and trying to extract the most living out of it that we can. And right now we're just running crazy trying to get to the boat, and it's nice. It's raining today. It's cold. It's windy. It's a good day to be locked in the house and do all the stuff that we don't do when it's sunny. As soon as the sun comes out, we're outside running around like monkeys. Anyways, I don't know what day this is. I don't know what day I'm posting it, but I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you soon.